Hey, what is up, everybody? LinkedIn and YouTube. We are back for another BizBuzz Live. I'm super grateful that we get a chance to do this. Today, we are talking about teachers. We're talking about educators, right? There's an important conversation now that we're into the summertime, and I've had a chance to work with people on the in the education side of things. I think it's really important for us to start this talk today. So stick around. All right, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of BizBuzz Live. Again, I'm your host, Chris Muzon, helping you through all things finance. Again, I appreciate all the people that continue to support the show, all the questions that I get, all of the DMs. Tried my best to respond to them and give you insight where I can. But for those of you that have been sticking around for a little bit of time, you guys got to know the thesis of this, where this started, the genesis of BizBuzz Live. We're not just jumping on just to talk about nothing, right? We have some important things. As a person that's been in the financial space for some time, being able to help people with their financial life, every part of their financial life, any part of their financial life, whether I have the resource, whether I am the resource or I have the resource and I point them in that direction, having their questions answered, whether it comes down to their investments or their debt strategy or their insurance protection or putting a proper estate plan in place or making sure they have savings or whatever the conversations are that people come to me to talk about. Inevitably, we have to have a cash flow conversation, right? Inevitably, we have to have a conversation where we're talking about what's coming in and what's going out, because that's going to dictate the rest of our financial life. And something that we don't often do is talk about the ways that we make money, the things we can do to earn income. Everyone knows the problems right now in our society, in our economy, especially here in America, right? Everybody knows that inflation's high and cost of living's high and everything keeps going up, and rent and living expenses and food and everything, gas, just keeps going up and going up. But our income has stayed the same, or in relation to where it was before has gone down, but at least, right, has stayed the same. So as an industry, and this is where this show comes from, I'm giving this context to you guys so you understand. In this industry, I think we've done a really good job of teaching people how to budget their money, track their money. There's 8 million spreadsheets and debt calculators and budget calculators and books on budgeting and all the stuff. I think we've kind of oversaturated that side, and we've done a good job. And what I've heard from people, and I see a bunch, is that people are kind of frustrated with that conversation, right? Like, you can't budget nothing, right? I hear that a bunch. Like, you can't budget nothing. I don't have it coming in. How can I budget nothing? Now it seems like, right, we're making, I think I saw a TikTok or something like that said something along the lines of like, like, I'm now feeling bad just because I bought groceries, right? I'm now feeling like more financially or less financially responsible only because I bought necessities. Like, I bought groceries. I didn't overspend and eat out and all the stuff. We're having the conversation, talk about food, that buying groceries is equal to eating out now, right? That going out to grab food is financially in the same ballpark as someone buying groceries. Now, I kind of still disagree with that as somebody that buys groceries and cooks. I still think you will make out much cheaper on that side. But again, I know how to cook. Maybe you don't, right? Like, maybe you don't know how to. So like, you make something that's like a meal, right? Meaning like one serving or one time to eat. The key to like buying groceries, just being on this tangent, the key to buying groceries is that like you create meals that you can have multiple times to eat it, right? I know as a kid we would hate leftovers, but like that's how you make food stretch, right? It's not the same mindset as I go to Chipotle and I get one thing for lunch. It's a matter of I make I buy the pack of chicken and I buy the vegetables and I buy the rice and I make enough for 4 days or I make enough for 3 meals. It doesn't even have to be 4 days. I make enough to eat this twice or 3 times or 4 times. That will always play out financially better than continuing to get every single meal while you're out. So just had to talk through that. I think that'd be a good place to kind of clip up some content because that's just a fundamental financial myth. Anyways, that being said, what we came to talk about today is the education system. Y'all know we've been having this conversation around the education system a bunch and the changes. And we've been talking about specifically teachers and how teachers are underpaid. Man, I don't have it up for you guys, but I would have it up. Matter of fact, let me see if I can pull it up while we are doing this. I'll see if I can pull it up for you. But there's been a bunch of things on social that have talked about how teachers all have to have second jobs or second sources of income. Like I think the statistic 70 something percent of teachers have like a second stream of income. I hate pulling this up because it always slows my computer down a ton. I gotta get a better setup here. But let's see. Hold on. Hold on. I really want to show this to you guys. Give me a second, so I could pull this up. Oh, it's not gonna let me get in. Okay, that's okay. Maybe we just clip this up and like we do some micro content from it later. But there's a statistic I think some I'm trying to think who exactly it was did some type of report that says like 70+% of teachers in America have a second stream of income, need a second job in order to just make things happen. And so obviously educators know, teachers know there's not enough pay to be able to do the things that to live a comfortable life for themselves financially, whether they have to continue to put money back into their school. Some people are personally taking it out of their paycheck, out of their pocket to buy school supplies or right things to fund their classrooms. But I think at a fundamental level, and this goes back to what I said, the thesis of this call is, or of BizBuzz, is we have to learn how to make money. And as educators, as teachers, I think they're one sector that has to learn how to make money. Here's something that I've seen by working with a lot of educators, by working with a lot of teachers, is actually a mindset thing. Okay, let me break this down for you. This is actually a mindset. I do a morning mindset call, by the way. I'm gonna drop it in here so you can see it. It's scrolling. It's every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9:30 a.m. Eastern. You can register to join. It's free. I do this so that we can get our mind in the right place. Because again, if you change your thinking, you'll change your life. I know it sounds really simple, but most concepts of success are pretty simple. It's just hard to apply them. So the application of this, are you changing your thinking so that your life can change? Are you changing how you think about earning money so that you can get a different result around money so you can make more money? Right? That's kind of the way it goes. Are you able to change how you think about something so that you can get a different outcome? So back to teachers. Teachers, the mindset, it starts with a mindset. And here's the mindset that I've seen. And you guys tell me if this is something you've seen as an educator or something that you've even heard. It's the school mindset, right? Versus kind of like the working mindset, right? The student mindset or the employee versus the employee mindset. Let's say it that way. A lot of times what I've run into are teachers have a student mindset. What does that mean? That means they think about their work like 8 months on, 4 months off, 9 months on, 3 months off, holidays off, weekends off. They think about their life like a student because they're in the institution, right? That's kind of how that's the programming. If you're an educator for a long time, if you're a teacher for a long time, you look at the summer differently than other adults in other professions. Okay? That's a mindset. If you adapt the student mindset, August to June, I work. Late June to right beginning of August, I don't. It's summer break. It's a break time. That's a mindset versus most other careers for adults, 12 months, you're working. There's no summer break. There's no winter vacation. Like you get your 2 weeks PTO and you pick when in the year you choose to take your vacation. But that is an adult worker's mindset is I need to work 12 months. I need to constantly work because that's how bills work. That's how all the things work. What I've seen from a lot of teachers is they have a student mindset, 9 months on, 3 months off, 8 months on, 4 months off. Like that's how they think about it. So because of how they think about it, that translates into their money, right? And how they're able to earn money. Everything starts with a mindset. So if you're a teacher and you're listening and this resonates with you, I'm just going to give you this solution. First, we got to start by thinking you don't get a summer break. You have to change your thinking, change your mindset around summer break. Like that is a kid thing, that is a student thing. Granted, you work in that system, in that institution, but that's not you. You don't get a break, right? I laugh because under all other industries that adults work in, like that's never how they think of it. Like, oh, I get this time away. Like, no, not really. You got to keep working. So that's where to start. Teachers, educators, you're struggling a little bit financially. You don't want to have a second, third job. You're a little worried about the summer months and the paycheck that you get or don't get. We'll start with your mindset. Let's attack the mindset. You are not a student. You're an employee. You got to work 12 months. You'll get a vacation, a break here and there, but like you have to work 12 months. So you have to plan and start planning for how you are working throughout the summer. Okay? So that's first step. It's a mindset shift. You got to shift your thinking to get different results. If you change your thinking, you'll change your life. You'll get different results. That's the way that it goes. All right? So once you attack the mindset, y'all, once you say, okay, I'm not a student. I don't get 9 months on, 3 months off. I don't have a summer break. Like this isn't how working adults operate. I have to work all year round. The second thing is we might need to upgrade our skill sets a bit to think a little bit differently about income. There's probably a statistic on this, but I could guess 95%, 90 to 95% of teachers, if they have a second job or something that they do on the side, they work in the summer, 90 to 95% of it is tutoring. That's the only way you've been taught how to make money. You can either give your services to the institution, the college, the school district, the whatever, you give your services there. And if not there, then you go individually become self-employed and you tutor some kids. 90 to 95% of all teachers do this in the summer. If you work a summer camp or like summer school type deal, you're still working for the institution. If not, guess what you're doing? I bet you're tutoring or trying to tutor or thinking about tutoring, right? And that's okay because that's what you know. But that'll also not get you the results that you want. Here's why. Meaning from a financial standpoint, because how much can you charge for tutoring and how much time do you have to deal with kids in the summer, right? To deal with students, what's your capacity? Both of those two have limits. there's only a certain amount of students you're going to be able to tutor in the summer, and there's only a certain amount that a parent is willing to pay for tutoring. So because of that, it might be extra money to you, but it's not sustaining so you can get to where you want to go financially. So again, I know teachers, this is what you go through. I've seen countless amounts of tutoring posters, flyers on social media from all the teachers that think about tutoring in the summer. Here's what we got to do. We got to learn how to go make money outside of your thought, right, of education. You got to learn either how to make money outside of education, or we have to think about a new way of education that brings us in more money. That's a business model that actually works. That's a business model in 2026 that'll actually allow you to grow the things that you want. So what could be some other ideas? I'd love for you guys to drop your comments, drop your thoughts. If you're an educator, you're a teacher, or you know someone that's a teacher, besides tutoring, what else are you going to do to make money this summer? Clip that up. Besides tutoring, teachers, what are you going to do this summer that's going to make you money? Do you have other skill sets? Can you think about life in a different way? Can you think about education in a different way? These become the questions that we got to start to explore. Let me tell you something. As an educator, you are really good at some things. Go into ChatGPT or Claude and say, hey, what are the skill sets of a teacher? Like, what do the best teachers do really good? And they're going to give you like a list of them. And you could be like, oh yeah, I do that well. I do that well. I do that well. And those things are going to translate into other industries. If, again, you're willing to bounce out of education, you're willing to take your skill sets that you received by doing something and move it over here. This is the reason I got into the financial space. I come from hospitality. That was my career path. That's where my degree is in, all of those things. It's in culinary arts, hospitality, food service management. I dealt with people for years on the food side of things. And then someone said, hey, this is just another people business, right? The financial industry, even though you might not know about the industry, you might not have a passion for the industry, this is just another people business. And because you've gained skill sets of how to be good with people coming from hospitality and restaurants and all the stuff, you take those skill sets and you move them into an industry that's more lucrative, that can still serve your mission, that you can grow a love for, that and ultimately you're already good at. You just got to learn a couple of extra things. So as a teacher, as an educator, there's a lot of things that you're good at that you've had to learn to become good at just in the school system. Once you identify those things, ladies and gentlemen, then you take them and say, where could these skills also be applied? What other industries? It might not be education. Not everyone's going to make $1 million tutoring. Matter of fact, no one's going to make $1 million tutoring or being a teacher. It's just not going to happen. But the skill sets you've learned by being in a classroom, by managing students, by being able to put together a curriculum, by showing up early, right? Teachers notoriously are on time for things. Trust me, that's a quality many people don't have. But you are, because you're used to being in the classroom before the students get there. You're used to setting up your classroom in the way that you want it. You're used to being prepared and planning and prepping. You're used to managing a bunch of different people and things and emotions and yada, yada. You're used to that. Don't you think that translates into other industries? Don't you think that translates into other businesses? I would say you're good at selling. My definition of selling and many people's definition of selling and leadership is influence. If you're a great teacher, you've probably influenced some students to do what's right for them, to believe in themselves. You're probably a great motivator, a great encourager. If you're a great teacher, if you're a good or great teacher, you've probably motivated or inspired or encouraged some students along the way. You've probably spoken life into them at some point. Again, you've probably sold them on why they can be great, on why they can get an A on the test, on why they can get the project done in time. You probably have some discipline, right? Some things that you've had to learn how to discipline people, how to go the other side, how to have a boundary and put consequences in. Like there's probably so many qualities that you've learned that because no one's taught us how to make money, you're only going off of the limited bit of knowledge that you have to make money. We're missing out on all of these opportunities over here that could completely change your financial life. As an educator, as a teacher. Again, today I'm talking to teachers, but in all honesty, you can do this with whatever career path if you've been doing something for 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 years and you don't want to do it anymore, instead of looking for the same job, the same position, the same thing, think about the skills that you've learned and what you're actually good at and see what other industries could use that. See what other business models could use that. How could you take your ability to influence a child to do the right thing, to influence someone else to buy your product? Right? But you got to know what your skill sets are. You got to know what what you're good at, so that you can then go find a way to give it to the world and us put together a business or business model that works for you. That's not just I teach and then I tutor. I teach and then I tutor. I teach and I tutor. Like that's not going to, in 2026, that's not going to get it. I'll give somebody the big idea. If you guys want to clip this up too and take this, I'll give somebody the big idea. When systems and institutions are broken and they need to be disrupted and changed, that's where all the money comes in. As an educator, most educators working in the education system know that the system is broken. We're not saying anything new. You know that it's not working. You know that kids are just getting passed along in these classes from one grade to the next. What are these things called? IEPs, right? You know, if a kid has an IEP, she's just going to go through the system. You're watching what's happening because you're in it. You know this whole thing is broken. You can blame it on the parents. You can blame it on the institution. You can blame it on social media or technology with the kids, whatever you choose to blame it on. It's broken. The educator will be the person that will know how to fix it. The educator would know how to fix this. What are the solutions here? Because you're in it. The moment an educator starts thinking entrepreneurially and thinks outside of the box, that's very cliche to say, but really starts thinking outside of the box, is the moment that the education system change, and that entrepreneur-minded educator is going to make a lot of money. It's going to make a lot of money. Homeschool has been on the rise. We can look at the statistics. Why? Because parents don't trust it. Here's something I've said probably for going on 6 or 7 years now, right? No exaggeration. Probably need to go back. I remember we held a homeschool webinar back in 2020, like in the pandemic, 2020, 2021. We held this because we've been having the same conversations with people for a very long time. It's just now that things are really getting bad, people are starting to listen. Before, right, when someone's telling you that the warning signs are coming and things are all good, most people don't listen at all. But this is what we've been talking about for a very long time. I said that the educators now hold the leverage. Business, right? All this stuff, it's about leverage. Who holds the leverage? Before, the institution used to hold the leverage. If you worked for a certain school district, if you worked for a certain university or institution, that put the prestige on your name as an educator, that put the prestige on the child's education. It was really about the institution. If you go to the right school district, if you go to the right school, you will come out better. That was it. It was the institution. Now, the educator has the leverage. In my opinion, the educator has the leverage. There's still going to be top 10% of schools that just, right, they get it. and it still will be there. But for the mass majority, I'm speaking as a parent, I would much rather my child have the best math teacher, the best language teacher, the best person to teach her gymnastics, the best person to teach her soccer, the best person to teach her history, the best person to teach her whatever subject she needs to learn. I rather have the best individual than a specific institution. I rather have her learn from the people that are great teachers, that are great educators, that know how to handle, right, learning in whatever area or field. I much rather have that than say my child has gone to this school so I can put a bumper sticker on my car. That is how it used to be. It used to be I was proud of the institution that they're a part of. Now, as a parent, I really just care that they get the right education from the right person or the right people. I don't care what the institution is. Because of that, I know I'm not alone in that. I know there's other parents that if you hear that, that would make sense to you. That means for the teachers now listening, the educators now listening, you hold the power. Stop trying to get the institution to change. Stop trying to get the school district to change and listen to you and all the things. Somebody's got to go do it themselves because the parents are waiting. The market is waiting for you. You know the data, right? It's not working out. Kids can't read. You seen any of these videos, guys? You seen any of these videos on TikTok where they're asking seemingly adults, right? These are probably people under 25, like to read the index card. Have you seen any of these where they have to like it started with a couple kids that they did this with, but now they took it a little bit older. These people look 19, 20, 21, 22, right? And they ask them to read an index card with some challenging words in the English language. Again, if you have any level of reading, literacy or right comprehension, you can sound them out or some of them like you just know what the words are. But people are and again, I know these are clips, but like people are feeling miserably. People are not reading words, not knowing how to say word. Like it's very sad. So we know this is broken. Who can fix it? If you're a teacher, you're an educator, you can fix it. Stop going to the institution because the institution can't fix it. They really can't. I wish they could, but they really can't fix it. But you can. You have the power. You have the knowledge. You're a great teacher. You know how to handle kids. You know how to handle parents. You've had to do it. You know how to communicate these things. Like, that's why you can make the difference. And so that's my encouragement to all of you educators, all of you teachers. Number one, you got to get out of the mindset of the student mindset. You're not off. It's not summer break for you. You needed to plan up to this point so that when the summer came, you had already had a plan. I know the school year might have wiped you out. I get it. But for most working adults, their jobs wipe them out too. Their businesses wipe them out too. It's just they have to do it for 12 months and not just 9, not just 8. So that's the mindset you got to be in first and foremost so that you think about your life like an adult, not like a student. You got to continue to make money. Secondly, again, we probably got to identify what we're good at that we've gotten from the school system and now figure out how to go apply that in different industries with different things that make money, all those things. That's your learning curve, educators. You like to learn. That's your learning curve. What do I like to do? What am I good at? And what industries make money? And where can I take my skills and transfer them over there so I bring in more money to make more money so we can have all the other financial conversations about saving and budgeting and right retirement and all the things. I need to go make some more first, but we got to learn how to earn. Today was specifically about educators because it's the summer break and I'm watching educators, one, just focus on tutoring because it's the only thing they know how to make money. And two, some of them just thinking that it's the summer. Like, man, I'm burnt out. Now I get to relax for some time. What adult thinks that way? What working adult thinks that way? You already don't get paid enough, and then you get to take time off and like work less. Don't make sense. We got to change the mindset, and then we got to upgrade the skill sets a bit. And then for the people that really want to go after it, we got to change the system. Collectively, as educators, you hold the leverage, and you can go off and you can change this thing because the parents are waiting. The market is waiting. The parents that love their children and want their children to learn, they will change their options. Like, they know it doesn't work, so they're trying to figure it out. Homeschooling is going on the rise. Maybe you create homeschool communities, but like with actual teachers, right? Homeschool communities with actual teachers. You and your 5 greatest teachers that all can handle, a bunch of kids. It's almost like you create your own school. You use a curriculum that you guys like, that and you teach it. There are these around. It's just not enough people homeschool to like do it all that like locally, but like you could do that. You could charge money for it. You could get a grant for it if you needed to get a grant so that you have some funding for it. There's tons of educational type grants that are out there. You can get grants, and yeah, parents have to chip in. Parents have to chip in. There's not going to be the same amount of fundraising and all the other things that they got to pay for, but like somebody can put that together. And I wanted to be an educator because you guys know what the problems are, and you would know how to fix them. All right. So educators, do me a favor, reach out to me, shoot me a message, shoot me a DM here on LinkedIn. If you're over on YouTube, right, shoot me a message. I want to talk to you guys about what you think the solutions are, what you think can be done, one, in the education system, but two, for you personally to go make more money. Maybe we have to think outside of just education. We have to think of what the education system has taught you and skill sets that you have currently that are going to help you. But maybe that's where we start. Yeah, drop those comments in there, y'all. I want to hear from you. I have my thoughts about it, but I want to make sure you guys are getting the solutions you need. All right. So as always, tune in every single Friday here, 10:30 a.m. Eastern. We're doing BizBuzz Live. We're talking all things finance, but specifically, we're talking how to make money. What industries are making money? What career paths make money? What business models make money? How do we need to shift our thinking if in certain industries, certain professions? How do we change how we think about it so we can get a different result? That's the conversation. Everyone else can help you with how to save and how to budget. I mean, I can help you with those things too, but that's not the premise of this show. This show is how are we going to make money? We can complain about how expensive things are, but if you're only looking at how expensive things are and you're not looking at how to make more money, you're going to be, right? It's going to be rough financially for you. You're going to lose hope after a while. And that's what's happening to a lot of people. So let's not let that happen to us. We got to focus on how do we go make more money. There's tons of opportunities, plenty of money out there for you to be able to go make, but you got to go be valuable to the marketplace, not just to an institution. All right, y'all? Perfect. I'll see you guys back here next Friday, same time. We're going to have another conversation, maybe about education, maybe about something different. DM me, shoot me a message if you got questions or want to chat. In the meantime, more than happy to spend some time chatting about it. But other than that, enjoy your week. Until next time, peace.